Welcome to Ladder Legends, a series of pro-level casted games. We have got Beastyqt playing on the west corner of the map in blue as the Holy Roman Empire, and on the east corner of the map we've got none other than Mista playing in red as the French. The map is Hillendale, some strong civs for this particular map, and we see both players going for 2 scouts, which is often the thing. If you've got French playing, French do need that food income. So they tend to get it with sheep a lot of the time, at least in the early parts of the game, and so they go for 2 scouts usually. I think Mista here just shooting the deer so that Beastie can't push the deer in, and that's interesting to note because on maps like Hill and Dale, pushing deer towards your Ark and Chapel can be really useful, or the town centre even, you know, to increase the gather speed. And we do see that, we see Beastyqt going for the Ark and Chapel. It's quite a common landmark that we'd see for the Holy Roman Empire on this map. We know that Beastyqt is not a huge fan of the Minework Palace and is going to go for the economic approach with the Ark and Chapel. On the east corner of the map we have got Mista playing as French, so we should probably expect to see the School of Cavalry, probably the most commonly used landmark of the two for the French to get to the next stage. Don't really see the Chamber of Commerce all that often. A pretty fast uptime for the Holy Roman Empire is expected though, with the buffering of the Prelate. And since the new patch, now the Holy Roman Empire actually start off with the Prelate, which is pretty cool, has to be said. Alright, 3 villagers on gold for Mista, and 9 on food. So yeah, he's slowly but surely getting that School of Cavalry up. I suspect he's going to be pumping out a knight or 2. And we see Beastyqt going for stone actually. Interesting. I suspect. So my thoughts are that he's probably going for stone because he's going to get an outpost maybe for arrow slits. I mean, 2 villages on stone is not going to be enough to get much else. So I doubt it's for a second town centre. It's most likely to be for an outpost and then arrow slits. We shall see. We shall see. Oh, okay. Scouts being annoying. And this is commonly done as well, especially when you've got 2 scouts on the field, bringing in those sheep. You've done a lot of scouting. The scouting can be done obviously twice as fast with 2 scouts. And it's quite nice to have 2 scouts on the field often. You can get a good vision of what's happening. Now the Mista brings his 2 scouts back and looks to try and save that villager, which will be absolutely fine. Looks like maybe Mista is pushing in his deer a little bit, possibly, or just hanging around. Alright, so stone here for Mista. Now there are 3 villages on stone, so that makes me start to think that's for a second town centre. And yeah, this is okay. So we've got Beastyqt going for an outpost, looking to probably get arrow slits to protect that gold because he knows that the French are going to be relatively aggressive usually anyway. And we see now the Mista pushing in the deer. So what we talked about earlier, I think the Beastie's going to be trying to deny that. Yeah, going to try and deny it as much as he can. So yeah, that's kind of annoying for Mista, but he did the same. So you know. Okay, yeah, I mean, he's killing them anyway. I'm not entirely sure why they're fighting it, as if they're Rus or something. And now it looks like, I'm not sure why Mista's shooting the deer, rather than just pushing it, maybe just misclicking. Sometimes it's pretty difficult. The hitboxes aren't, you know, fantastic. Do you see the School of Cavalry? 5 minutes 30 seconds. Yeah, we can see more villagers going on stone now. So it's a 2 town centre opening for the Mista. Nice deer push there, right to the town centre. We see the Holy Roman Empire going to wall up both sides of the Hillendale section that they have, and looking to maybe go for a fast castle behind. This is such a common thing that the Holy Roman Empire do, and you can kind of tell it's going to happen with 6 villagers on gold. Scouts chasing scouts. Let's go. Now, getting up to the castle age is really strong for the Holy Roman Empire because they can often go for the Regnitz Cathedral and grab the relics. And that really bolsters the gold income for them. We'll take a look at that if that's what he decides to do. I suspect it's probably not going to be the Burgher Palace, especially if he's walling up so heavily. You know, you don't really couple aggression with walling up. We shall see. You might be doing this just to, you know, avoid him getting ready because of the knights. Yeah, I mean, the French knights aren't going to be able to do too much damage right now, so we do see 1 on the field, but as you can see, Beastie's got arrow slits, so the knights are still going to harass, maybe even get a villager kill here. Oh, he actually picks one, so that's actually very nice for Mista. Beastie didn't realise that, but the thing is that with so much damage, you know, Mista can't really bring that knight again until he has chivalry. But still good value for the money. I mean, it's definitely worth it taking a villager out on the long term side of things. It's definitely worth it, especially if you get chivalry in the end to heal that up. But we see the benefit of having arrow slits there. Very, very nice. Quite a big investment though, has to be said, because you had to invest 50 wood for that. And then obviously the villager time to collect the arrow slits stone amount. But as you can see, it kind of paid off maybe a little bit. Purely because it means that the Mista can't harass the villagers anymore. And to be fair, it's probably worth it, because if you've got 5 villagers there, he did have 6 to be fair, but 5 villagers, you know, if they're stopped gathering stone for a while, that is a lot of idle time that can be caused. And so overall, it's probably worth it. Okay, we see the Regnitz Cathedral here, the Age 3 religious landmark for the Holy Roman Empire. As you can see, relics placed within the Regnitz Cathedral generate 200% gold every minute, and it holds 2 relics. So that's going to be a nice bit of gold income for Beasty if that's the way things end up. I suspect it will, because obviously the French go for 2 town centre. I mean, he's not going to get up to the Castle Age anytime soon, really. And so, you know, Feudal Age is going to have to be on the cards for Mista for quite some time. Not necessarily a problem with the French. He's going to build a large villager lead, and that will in some way counteract, you know, Beasty's ability to... I mean, the gold that he gets for the Regnitz Cathedral will be slightly counteracted by the villager count that Mista will no doubt have. Like, he's got 37 villagers at the moment, Mista 27 for Beastyqt, so that second town centre. Don't forget, each town centre works extra fast for the Mista. That's just the bonus that the French get. And he ended up milling the deer anyway in the end. And I suspect Beasty probably doing the same, maybe? No, she's getting a house here, not even actually going for the deer carcass there. Maybe he's going to build a mill a little bit later. He's got a lot of sheep in around underneath the town centre, and obviously that's under the influence of the Ark and Chapel, so that's certainly the way to go. Got a spear or 2 to defend himself. Hardened spearman as well, going for double barracks, so yeah, looking to get security on the relics now. Chivalry is in place for the Mista. Mista will need to be careful about the spears going, as you can see now, prelates going forward. Beasty looking to get those relics nice and quickly. He's going to be able to get this one, that's for sure. So close to himself. He could even bother. He could even go for the sacred type. I'm sure he'll go for the relics first. That's really what they tend to do. But you see a couple of units in the stealth forest though for Mista. Another knight there. The this guy is going. Okay, it's interesting. I mean, yep, send the spears. That's for sure. We'll definitely want to send the spears. What's happening over here? So Scout, just having an idea of what's happening here for Beasty. Sees the knight, and economy buzzing for Mista. Be interesting to see whether he goes for the Guild Hall or the Royal Institute. Does he want to be aggressive? Now the monk will be looking to get the relic. He doesn't pick it up. He goes towards the spears. Right call there. And this is the tricky part for Mista, because he can't really add or stop this. Like, he can't really snipe the scholar, because they're just like, there's a lot of spears there. There's 7 spears, man. Those relics are really going to be brought in, that's for sure. So I think 1 relic is in play already in the Regnitz Cathedral, as you can see. And that gold income per minute is going to be starting to increase. Oh, we see walls there. Palisade walls going by Beasty, looking to seal things up a little bit. Doesn't want to be pushed too hard. And we shall see. I mean, Beasty might be going for... Looks like he's got... I mean, he's got double barracks, so he's certainly going to be somewhat committed to the spearman line. But not necessarily has to be. Might think about going for crossbows to counteract the knights, seeing as he is in Castle Age. You'll see the archers as well. Oh, he's really rushing down the walls, if he can. He'll certainly want to keep the knights out, because, you know, Beasty doesn't actually have any military here. He's got 1 outpost with arrow slits. He'll be able to get the walls up, but he'll probably lose a villager or 2. Oh, he just manages it. Yeah, that was close. That was close. Stuff like this can really change the game. We'll lose a couple of villagers because of the archers. We see a wallow here on the left. Yeah, oh, the spears. Where were the spears? The spears were not in position. I expected the spears to be with the monk there. But he most certainly wasn't. They most certainly weren't. But we do see 2 relics now coming in. I think the spearman will probably with this scholar. Monk, rather. There we are. They're cycling around on the left now. There is a gate, yeah, so Beasty really want those relics. Beasty needs to be careful about this side here, because there are a lot of knights and there's a lot of archers there as well. So the archers will be able to pick off these spearmen. And also possibly the monk, prelate. Right. Age up coming in for the Mista. I mean, he needs to focus down on the prelate. Mista, focus on the prelate. Okay, focuses on the prelate. The relic does get denied, but it's relatively close to his base now. And Beasty does have to back off on it. He can't take that fight, obviously, with only hardened spearmen. Because of the archers, they can just kite him a lot. Beasty invested in a bit more in a couple of spearmen just to defend, but now with the Mista going up to the next stage, he's going up with the Guild Hall, so expecting maybe a long game in this one. Of course, the Royal Institute is a very nice landmark. It can give you the Imperial Age upgrades an age earlier. And the Guild Hall, though, is a unique landmark to the French, an economic one, which generates and stores resources over time. The more resources stored, the faster they are generated. Select between food, wood, stone, or gold. Certainly, it's just like a magic button you can press, gather lots of resources once they're collected. Oh, okay. See, Mista going for the boar, the fastest food resource on land, carrying 2,000 food as well. So a new age begins. The castle age is in play for the Mista, and we should probably see a lot more expanded in terms of army production here. We can see a lot of archery ranges. Holy smokes! Go for the Aoe4. That makes sense because the Holy Roman Empire often goes for high armored units in the form of man-at-arms. But obviously the Mista doesn't really have much in the way of scouting information. But what's really important to think about in this scenario is that, well, the Mista knows that Beasty has barracks, right? He's seen the... Well, he hasn't seen the barracks themselves, but he knows he has them because of the spearmen. So he knows that, well, Beasty will have a really easy, nice transition to man-at-arms in the Castle Age because of having 2 barracks. Now, 2 barracks is not a huge amount of commitment. It's 300 wood. Which is a decent amount. It's not sort of game-changing at this stage, but you know, it's ease of transition to man-at-arms that is there for Beasty. And so going Aoe4 is very nice because not only does it counter the man-at-arms, it would counter the spearmen in some ways. Obviously, archers will be a better choice for spearmen, but if you've already got rangers and you're worried about, I mean, Aoe4 kind of do 2 things at once. They can mildly counter the spearmen, obviously being a ranged unit. The spearmen have to get in close to actually do any damage to them. But also, if he's worried about man-at-arms, well, the Aoe4 will do good work with that. We see a mangonel on the field for Beasty. He's got that siege workshop nice and early because he did see, you know, archers. So it's really fascinating to see how these guys react to things. A 3rd town centre for the Mista, looking to play this with a lot of villagers. He's already up to 84. Beasty on 47. So I mean, I've said it for a while that Age of Empires 4 is very much a macro-heavy game. Especially, I mean, especially when you think about how hard it is to do damage on feudal, and especially on a map like this. He's only actually got 1 villager there. But yes, he's probably going to send his villagers afterwards. But this is a fantastic play by the Mista because he's got quite a bit of map control. And this is what getting map control gives you. Sure, Beasty got to the Castle Age, but he got there and he got the relics. 2 relics, in fact. That's the main advantage he gets. He probably has another monastery maybe somewhere. Seems like it, yeah. But the thing is that Beasty did go up to the Imperial Age, and that's huge because now he's got the villager printer. So this is where things become fascinating. So he knows that Beasty knows that Mista was on 2 town centres minimum. And so he knows he's going to be behind, so he can't really take a fight here. And so he decides, well, the only way that I can possibly build up with the villager numbers is with the Palace of Swabia. If they didn't have the Palace of Swabia, this would not be possible. And so Beasty is quite content to think, well, let's try and even up the villager count, and we can push on from there. Mista on 97 villagers, Beasty on 60. Now, of course, the 97 villagers have been gathering resources for quite some time now, so that's certainly going to be helping the bank for Mista. Spearman going forward. Mista doesn't notice, and they're just going to go there and see what they can do. And now the Mista does go out for the 2nd war, gets an outpost there as well as an army composition of veteran archers. I actually thought there was going to be more Aoe4. There aren't. Only a couple. I don't think he actually invested in them long term. I think he's still going for a mixed army here, which is not necessarily a bad idea because he doesn't actually know what he's up against, right? He doesn't actually have any idea what Beasty has because he's fully walled. And so Mista is kind of forced into sort of a semi-mixed army composition just until he finds out what's actually going on here. But with 3 town centres, looking good for the Mista. Beastyqt will catch up ever so slightly. So Beasty's on 69 villagers now, 107 for the Mista. And I suspect the Mista will be looking to get up to the next stage relatively soon. Go for a siege workshop as well. Maybe for some mangonels because he does see quite a few spearmen on the field. We hear a little chimp chiming for some relics. I suspect that's probably going to be Beastyqt. Not sure the Mister's all too interested in relics, but well, he probably should be. If you can secure some, that would be very nice. Guildhall's going for food or beast for the Mister. Ooh, okay, so Beastyqt looking to get some map control back. He's putting it down a keep in the center, looking to secure maybe this. Well, it's a bit off for the second side, but he's going to take a fight here. There is a mangonel here for Beastie, but there's a lot of archers spread out in different lines. So that's really effective how to counter, not counter mangonels, but reduce the amount of damage you're going to take. Looks like Mista is going to dive that mangonel. He's very intent on getting that down, but he loses so many knights to do it. And now we see the man-at-arms on the field. So this is where Beastie really pushes back, and he's got to keep here. Now we can really build on his offense from here, but there's quite a lot of archers, range units, so he should be able to take care of these man-at-arms. But as you can see, the archers just tickle these. He needs more arbaletier if this is a thing that Beastie techs into. As you can see, there's always man-at-arms there. And let's have a look at what Beastie's up to. He's got a going for more barracks. So as you can see, he's doubling down on the armoured units in the form of man-at-arms. So arbaletier is certainly something Mister's going to want to get here. I'm not sure if he's seen really enough to make that judgment call. That he needs more arbaletier. He's seen that there's man-at-arms on the field though. I think he'll see now though. You can see that there's 4 man-at-arms there within a cluster spear, but there's a decent number. A relic being placed in this keep. So this is very, very nice play by Beastie. And the thing about the relic is this still produces gold for the Holy Roman Empire, and you can only get 2 relics in the Regnitz Cathedral as well. So you might as well keep the relic garrisoned in a building where you can have such a huge amount of advantage. Have a look at this, guys. So the relic being garrisoned here increases the armor by 50%, the damage is increased by 35%, the sight range is increased by 25%, weapon range increased by 20%, and gold generation is still at 100 gold per minute. And now that secures somewhat that sacred site as well for extra gold, which is fantastic. You can see the sight radius caused by this keep. It's absolutely phenomenal. I think it's up to here though. I'm not sure how much of it's coming from the prelate and how much of it's from the keep, but there's a lot of sight radius here. That's for sure. Okay, on the south corner there's a bit of a fight here. There's lots of man-at-arms looking to take down this position here, the boar position. There is a springald in placement in the outpost. Now the Mister gets up to the Imperial Age, and now he's really going to start to push on from there, or at least hope to. Now he sees a lot of man-at-arms. These are 8 man-at-arms here, so I suspect we'll be seeing a lot of arbaletiers starting to come onto the field. But he's got to be a bit careful because there will be mangonels on the field for Beastie, so he'll need a counter for the mangonels. The most common thing you would tend to get is springalds, so let's just see if Mister's queuing up any springalds. Not just yet. I mean, the other way to do it is by going for horsemen as a relatively cost-effective unit in some ways. Try and bounce on those mangonels. The problem that he would have is the fact that Beastie has so many spearmen. So Beastie's really kind of going for an army composition here of man-at-arms, spearmen, and having siege on the field in the form of mangonels and a bombard. So bombard now coming out to take out the keep for the French. Now one thing to notice here is that the French get a bonus of their buildings, like the archer ranges and stables. Their unit costs are reduced by 20% if their buildings are placed around the keep. So Beastie probably, well, I mean, I'm sure he knows this. So as you can see, the Mister is looking to get these production buildings around the keep, but well, the problem is that it forces him to put the production buildings forward. Beastie's production buildings are all at home, nice, safe and secure. His production's guaranteed for now. Stonewall in the right side of his base, which will secure a nice, very big chunk of woodline, although there are knights in the base already. That's the problem that Beastie has. He wouldn't have anticipated that. That's a bit rough. A lot of villagers, because he's going to struggle on wood here. That's for sure. There's not so much wood left for Beastie rather. Beastie actually pulls back from this because there is a royal culverin for the French. Okay, we do see a lot more arbaletier on the field now for the Mister, which is what we expected. Now the Mister's looking to wall up as well, this sacred site maybe. That'll give him a nice position there to hold on to, but we can see now wood being an issue. Beastie goes to the right side. We can see how big an impact arbaletier are making now. So this is, I'm not sure if Beastie's just slipped here, he's not noticed these army. Maybe looking just to deny the outpost, but probably not that cost effective. An outpost does go up for Beastie, and don't forget there's a relic in this keep as well, so it's very, very nice position to have. Interesting to see if he goes for this, a unique tech for the Holy Roman Empire, reinforced defences, which increases the health of walls, towers and gates by 40%, which is huge amounts, guys, if you think about it. Going for the forward resources, seeing as he's got some map control, and going for the stone. Now, the good thing for the Mista is that he's actually managed to keep hold of this keep, and I think that's really not to be underestimated, because if you can imagine your units having a 20% discount, that is huge, guys. We're getting crossbow stirrups, which reduces the reload time of arbaletiers by 25%, which is a fantastic upgrade, boiling oil for his keep. And also the upgrade to elite knights. Now for me, elite knights are an incredible unit. They're super population efficient. They're very expensive, but they're so tanky, and they can do so much damage. They can take relatively good fights against spearmen. I mean, you don't want to take too many fights against spearmen, because of course spearmen only cost food and wood, and it's less hard to get those resources than it is gold at times. But the walls for the Mista will be blocked here, won't be able to get that up, and there's a couple of spearmen doing that. On the left side is where the action seems to be. Another keep goes up for Beastie, looking to use that as a platform to push out from. And yeah, it's going to be, I think it looks like this is the focus of attention here. There's a gold vein here with 8,000 gold that Beastie wants to kind of pressure. Got 2 gold veins here on the left as well. On the right side, not a lot happening. Mista looking to get some vision on the field with outposts though. Not wanting to give up too much map control. He's going to wall behind that stone wall just so he's not put under too much pressure. But a lot of man-at-arms here, which is likely to have forced march, and there's not enough arbaletier. These villagers are going to have to go back. This stone vein is not really very safe for Mista. It's not reacted to it just yet. Might lose a lot of villagers if he's not careful. And the only other alternative for him is to send some knights as a fast mobilizing unit to try and clear this up, but he's sending more villagers and she's going to run into her death. Trying to get more outposts up on the field and getting some emplacements in terms of cannon emplacements here for these outposts, which will certainly be helpful. The knights do come into play with the arbaletiers in defense behind them, but villagers are going down for Mista. Now the problem is that Beastie would have caught up with villagers, 132 to 137. So as the game goes on, guys, the early villager count lead that the Mista has, or had rather, not really that important, because as the game goes longer, that advantage just becomes more neutralized. And so from this position, Beastie can really hold on with his civilization in the late game. And it's said that the French have one of the worst late games in the game, and it makes sense because they have such a strong feudal age. But the Mista looking to try and pressure here with his elite knights, but he's not going to be able to do too much because there's a stone wall and gate here, and I'm not sure where these guys are going. No way you're going to get through. Spearman looking to put some pressure, and this is what we talked about arbaletier being a decent soft counter for these spearmen. There were archers there to be fair anyway, but just having ranged units in general, pretty good against melee units like that. And we see on the left here, this is where the big fight is going to be, I suspect. There's another town centre going down on the gold for Beastie, looking to offer some map control and protection there, with the keep already being there. It looks like the west is kind of where things are being contested for these two players. But the Mista not giving up this right side at all. He's looking to get this gold vein here, so if he does lose the west side, he's always got the right side, the east side to fall back to. With a couple of villagers there doing a bit of a dance around the keep. Don't know how to repair it. They weren't trained. They were trained to dance but not to build. Okay. Alright, now we do see cannons coming out to look to there's cannon emplacement in the outpost, which is doing a heck of a lot of damage. But this is pretty well fortified. It's a fortified outpost for the Holy Roman Empire. And okay, this is what's really nice. So not only does this town centre offer map control and a protection kind of zone, the Holy Roman Empire get this bonus with emergency repairs, where building repairs itself cost 150 health every 1 second for 20 seconds. It's like as you can see, it's emergency repairs. That's exactly what it's called. And so this keep is going to be surviving without having to be repaired by villagers because of emergency repairs. And it's such a strong thing for the Holy Roman Empire. Something to bear in mind is that in order to do that, you need to have the town centre in range. As you can see, the town centre has this kind of orange border around it. It's got to be within that range, and so that's really why he's done it. So we see the big fight here on the sacred site in the centre, and we've got man-at-arms and spearmen versus the arbaletier archers and knights. And yeah, I mean the knights really just win here because sure, there are elite spearmen. I mean the knights themselves will do a lot of damage to the spearmen. Obviously the spearmen are the hard counter, but with the archers and the range units behind, those will just sweep those up. So it takes a relatively decent fight there. You won't have wanted to lose the knights, but you have to pay a price sometimes. And it looks a strong position for both players really. It's not really one where one player has a huge amount of advantage. But something that has to be said is that we do see a lot of culverins for Beastie, which is slowly going to be pushing forward the left side, and there's no emergency repairs that the Mista can take advantage of, obviously. And the Regulus Cathedral has been producing a lot of resources, as you can see. 600 gold per minute. Now it looks like Beastie's got Tithe Barns, which enables him to get the other resources as well. You can see Beastie's going for a lot of upgrades here. Elite Knight upgrades himself, going for Veteran Horseman. He's getting everything he wants. Two-handed weapons, balanced projectiles. He's getting everything, guys. He's looking to really keep his army interchangeable and being able to switch things up quickly if he wants to. But you see a lot of stables there, 15. So if he wants to switch into cavalry units, well, he's really well set up for that right now. Let's have a look at what Mista's up to. On the back here, he's got a lot of woodline. Big woodline there, isn't it? But on the east, that's where he's got his production buildings as well, the stables. Now, I think the trouble is that he doesn't have a keep here, so he's not going to be taking advantage of the 20% discount that French would normally get. And that is a huge bonus, so it's a bit unfortunate about that. Maybe we'll place a keep there. Let's take a look at the resources he's got. He doesn't really have enough stone for that just yet, but he does have a foothold on the east corner, and this is where he's actually put his keep here, the stables. So he's got some stables around that, producing nice units cheaply, and they've got a heck of a lot of units here. Wow, that's a lot of production builders, guys, honestly. He's going on a horseman. He's going very much into horseman. I mean, one thing you might be thinking about is maybe just rushing in and looking to try and do a landmark snipe with this number of horsemen. Probably not, to be fair, but it feels like slowly but surely the Mista is being pushed back, and that's not something he's going to want to do, be like leave it alone for too long. And Beastie has a lot of map control, so the issue is for the Mista to be able to push all this back is going to be a really hard task. And so perhaps what he's looking to do really is to get a massive army together, as you can see he's grouping up here, and Mista doing Mista things. We've seen this before in N4C. I think he's going for a landmark snipe, guys. I really do. It just feels that way. To be able to be investing in this amount of horsemen, this period of time, massing up here, not taking any fights. There's a lot here, guys. There's 53. I think he's going for holy smoke, guys. Landmark snipe coming in. And this keep is still there, surviving, but there are quite a lot of culverins here, so this keep is not going to survive for too long, and so really, it feels like this is all a bit of a distraction here on the west for the Mista. I think it has to be a distraction, because, as you can see, it's got a lot... Yeah. I mean, there's no way this is not a landmark snipe, right? 76! Oh my god. How many do you think he's going to need, guys? It looks like he's... Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, he's going to go for it. He's going to go for it. We're on a chase. Now, this keep is doing a lot of work as well. This keep has been alive for such a long time, and he's sniping a lot of units here, which is a little bit strange for... Okay, yeah. Beastie was trying to pounce on that Royal Culverin. Didn't quite manage it. I think we really have to keep an eye on the horseman really. He's staying here. He's not giving away his hand just yet. Waiting for the critical number. 95 of them. And we did see the guild hall collecting food, so he's cashed that in, and now he's switched back to gold. And I think he's going to be going for it, guys. He's really going to be going for it. We need to see when he does it, though. I think he wants to wait to a critical number. I mean, he might even be deleting villagers at this point. 68 villagers for the Mista. I think he's deleting villagers. In fact, I'm sure of it. Because 68 villagers is obviously... he had 120 odd. He is being raided back at home, but he does have some elite knights here. So I think Beastie's doing Mista a favour. So I don't know if it was deleted villagers or just purely because Beastie's putting so much pressure here. And Beastie must be thinking, what the heck is going on? Well, this is going on. An army of 124, 126 horsemen are going through it, and Beastie notices it. He notices it, he sees it, and the problem for Mista is the pathing for him is really, really bad. He's trying to squeeze through the castles. He has to delete the stable in order to do it, and Beastie is needing to react here. I don't know how he's going to... Yeah, we can see the landmark snipe. I don't think it's necessarily going to work. I'd love to be able to eat my words here because, well, you know, this is nuts. I think at this point, we just go for the cinematic view here, really. Alright, he's gonna break through, guys. He's gonna break through the palisade. Will he have enough? I'm not entirely sure. He needs to find out where all the landmarks are, and he needs to do it fast. Don't forget that they have emergency repairs, so that's the thing. The trouble about doing this against the Holy Roman Empire is that emergency repairs can be huge, so he probably needs to take out the town centre first. Take out the town centre first, and then push out from there. There are spearmen. No, he's going for the Ark and Chapel. Actually going for the Ark and Chapel first. This could be... I'm not sure this is going to work. He's going to try it nonetheless. The Ark and Chapel will go down, but you can see the emergency repairs going there. And there's so many spearmen here, I'm not sure he's going to be able to manage it. The emergency repairs doing clutch here, and there we are. There's the GG. Mista calls it. It doesn't have enough to deal with this. Beastyqt, slow and methodical. It was a fantastic play. Started off with a fast castle with the Holy Roman Empire, and then pushed on from there. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this castle game, and if you did, do give the video a thumbs up. Let me know if you want to see more castle games like this. Take care, and see you next time.